You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and today we have another special guest, just like we do on every show. We have music country artist Susan Hickman, and we're going to be talking about her life story and also her amazing music career. And before I bring her in the show, she was named CMA Close Up Who Knew to Watch in 2010. She has so many big things that's going down. We're going to be talking about some music that was recently released, some future projects, and we're just going to get to know her better. So, Susan, I just want to first and foremost welcome to the show and say, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
So, when it comes to music, let's talk about first where you are originally from and where you are located today.
So I was born in Clear Lake, and I've kind of traveled around here and there, throughout the years. I actually ended up back in like the Clear Lake Dickinson area. So it's Galveston County, so a little bit south of Houston. So that's where I am now. Nice.
And when you decided, man, music is something that I want to do professionally, like when did that actually like start for you? When did you have that light bulb cut off and say, hey, man, this is something I'm meant to be doing?
It's kind of funny because like everybody, so many people that are in, the music industry, they always say, we started from, being a little kid and all of that. I can't imagine a time where I wasn't doing music. I was singing, I was writing songs at a very, very young age. I started piano when I was 5. I joined my church choir when I was 6, played fiddle. I started the guitar later on. But when it actually kind of clicked for me, like a aha moment, like I can do this too. There's kind of a series of events, but the last one kind of that leads up to when I started was I saw LeAnn Rimes when she first came out, and she sang Unchained Melody on an award show. And she was so young. She was a little bit older than me at the time, but she was so young. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, if she can do it, I can do it. And so I think it was, that was that last kind of that moment where I was like, okay, this doesn't seem impossible anymore. Like I can totally do this.
And once again, listen to I Am Refocused Radio. We are talking to the one and only Susan Hickman, and we're learning a little bit about her life and also her music career. When things started to open up for you, when doors started open, I mean, you've been able to do some amazing things. I mentioned earlier in the opening of the show that in 2010 that you were named CMA Close Up Who Knew to Watch. What was that like when, CMA, if you're in country music, that's when you know you're legit. So what was the feeling like when you start to get not just awards, but just getting that notification of, man, this is real? Like she's in the music industry, man.
It was very cool. It was kind of hard to believe, I guess, at the time. 2010 was a huge year for me. I mean, I had an amazing team that we had put together, and I had a lot of support, locally and nationally, and, even in Europe too. Because we were going back and forth overseas and playing shows and doing tours and stuff. But that was huge. That was a huge, little feather I can put in my hat. And I was very, very proud, very honored. And I've had several things since then that have kind of come along, and it's like, wow, that's really cool. People notice what I'm doing, and they really respect what kind of mark that I'm making on the music industry, especially for country music. So huge honor. It's very, very cool.
When did you start getting that feeling like, wow, I'm making it happen right now?
Well, professionally, I started about 21 years ago, but probably within the last 5 or 6 years, things have, there's been a lot that goes on in life and, relationships and careers and all of that kind of stuff. But I've had like a lot of like ups and downs and a crazy journey along the way. But about 5 or 6 years ago, like things just started to kind of fall into place. Like I've been working so hard for, since like the early 2000, like early in 2000 is really when I started. I put out my first album. I was touring, I was doing music full time. But really probably around that like 15-year mark, I was like, people would call me for shows and people would, ask me to do things instead of me just constantly on the phone and on the computer, which I still do. I mean, that never stops. But it's like, okay, wow, okay, things are starting to kind of happen. And I've done some traveling, in between then and now, and I've been kind of settled back in like, the Houston area. I moved back almost 2 years ago, and these last 2 years have been crazy. Obviously, like there's a lot of things that were going on, right before COVID happened. But then like that whole year was such oh my goodness. I always call it like it's a blessing and a curse, because there were so many things that I had lined up that were really like monumental, huge things that were going to happen. And of course they didn't happen, or they haven't happened yet. I like to say, but I also got kind of a break for the first time in my life. I had kind of like a 2-3 month vacation. But since then, everything has been like such a blessing. Like people keep calling. I have, venues that I've played over the years that they basically have kept my lights on because they keep calling and they keep telling me to come out. And, if they have a cancellation and I'm open too, they're like, come on out. And I'm like, oh, you're amazing. So sorry, I ramble a lot. I've got a lot of stuff to say.
No, that's why we gotta have those details, man. That's what makes your story. So when you see the success that you obtained so far in your music career, I like telling people on the show, you just warming up. I mean, the fact you're here is proof that you put in the work into your craft, into your passion. When you see the success and you look back, I mean, what is it that you're hoping that people who hear this episode and they're new listeners to your music, what do you want them to understand from your point of view as an artist? What do you want them to learn as they listen to your sound?
Honestly, like my whole thing, like creating music and getting my music out there to people to listen to, I want my music to touch people. The way that I write is very personal, and, I gather from very personal experiences, of myself and then of, close people that are around me. I want people to take that and, maybe they've had a situation or they have a, series of events in their life that they don't know quite how to make sense of. And maybe they'll hear one of my songs and go, oh, okay, cool. Somebody else, was living my story at the time. You hear those songs sometimes, like I can't tell you how many songs that I've heard over the years. I'm like, oh my gosh, this person was literally in my head when they wrote this song. So that's what I want. I mean, I want people to, obviously, like the music business and, entertainment business, it's such hard work. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, but I want people to take away like the creative side. Like there's so much that I have to say, and I definitely, I appreciate people that are out there listening and taking home what I have to say.
And once again, listen to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to the one and only Susan Hickman. You can go to her website, susanhickman.com. You can also find her on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Reverb Nation. I mean, when you have these opportunities to grow as an artist, to do these radio shows, to do these podcast shows, to just putting yourself out there for the world to see and hear you, what are some of the things that you have learned along the way when you have been trying to brand yourself, when you and your team are branding your music and you as a person? What have you learned along the way?
I've learned so much. I can remember when I was first starting out, my mom and I, we went to our little local library, and we got every single book that we could find on the music business. Because, you know, when you're starting something new that you know nothing about, like, you want to be educated, you know, you want to have some backing, you know, for knowledge, so you can have these conversations. But my big thing is learning. Like, I have such a huge thing for learning and for, you know, and for meeting people and experiencing, you know, new things, new places, and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that so many of these, you know, media outlets, like you know, different podcasts, you know, different interviews, you know, radio, they take time to sit down and listen to an artist, you know, such as myself, such as my very dear friends, and, you know, to take time away from your day to sit down with us, to get to know us. That's huge. And of course, I'm a huge people person. I love having conversations with people. I'm constantly like derailing the conversation. Like, tell me about you. Let's find out more about you. And they're like, no, this is about you. I'm like, yeah, well, but I mean, it's a huge honor. I mean, it's very, very cool that people actually want to sit down and learn about what I'm doing.
What are some of the wisdom nuggets that you can share with the listening audience as far as how you've been able to build these relationships throughout the years?
Listening, you know, is kind of sitting back and listening and observing. And I feel that you can learn so much just by being quiet. There's, you know, obviously, like, I know a lot of people, and, you know, we go out and, you know, we do these shows and we visit with, you know, our friends and our fans, but it's the quiet moments that I take away most of my information, because I feel like I've said over the years, if you're talking, you're losing. But when you're trying to learn about the industry and about, you know, how it works and how to maneuver all the craziness that comes with it, just sitting back and listening and then asking the right questions. And I mean, obviously there's no such thing as a stupid question, but I've worked with a lot of like up and coming singer songwriters, and like kind of mentoring them, kind of helping them kind of navigate the waters a little bit. There's such a like a cool thing that comes with, you know, doing that, because I didn't have anybody that helped me when I first started. I mean, I didn't have anybody help me for a very, very long time. And I feel like if I would have known some things, you know, early on, just not like the technical things or the legal things, but just people things. I think I was a little naive when I first started, and you know, the music business, it'll toughen up your skin for sure. But I mean, if you want to do it, just, you know, you gotta have that thick skin. You gotta be tough. And if it's what you really, really love, you just don't quit, because persistence and the consistency is key. That's going to get you where you want to be. It may not be, you know, at Madison Square Garden next year. It might not be a world tour. It might not be all these things that you envision in your mind what you should be doing. Because I feel like everybody has their path that they're supposed to go down, and your potential is obviously, it's limitless. I mean, you can literally do anything that you want to do in this day and age, and that's such a blessing. But just don't quit. I mean, just, you know, be consistent, you know, just get out there and do it and work hard, because this business is hard work. And a lot of it isn't the fun stuff. It's not the creative, you know, the learning the new songs and then learning a new instrument and stuff like that. It's, you know, 10 hours a day on the computer and the phone sometimes. So you gotta take the good with the bad and then just kind of roll with it.
And listen to I Am Focused Radio, talking to country artist Susan Hickman. And you mentioned one of my favorite words, and that is being consistent. Consistency, you said, is key. You said that a few moments ago. That is something that can be applied to just everyday living. And for you as a person, I mean, you have your work ethic, you're in the music industry, you're doing all these things, but you as a person, who was your source of motivation? Who inspired you to dream big and to work hard and to put your best foot forward?
I thank God for my parents. I mean, I learned so much from them. Like my dad, he's the coolest. He went to work for the railroad, for Union Pacific Railroad, the day after he graduated high school. And he stayed there for 54 years. And he just retired last year. And so that work ethic, I saw how he provided for our family. And I saw how he never missed a day of school, except he had a fever one day and he went home. I mean, he's the real deal. And then of course my mom, bless her heart, when I told her that we were doing music for my career, she was like, I don't know about this. I don't know if this is the thing. But once I told her that I was serious, she did not quit on me. I mean, she was my biggest champion. She worked so hard to help build what we have now. So, I mean, she'd drive me around to radio tours, to shows. I mean, I was playing in clubs and venues when I was 14 years old. And, she had to deal with the looks and the this and the that. And then on top of it, she homeschooled me and my sister both at the same time, trying to, juggle all of that. So, I learned a lot from my parents. I mean, they definitely inspire me every day for sure.
And you being a country artist, come on, I'm San Antonio, Texas, recording this right now, and you're from Houston. Texas is they take the country seriously. So this is a very important question I'm going to ask you. When it comes to country music, who would you like to collab with, whether they were from the past or they're like right now?
Goodness.
Who would you want to do a song with, and why?
I have a couple. I've had this list for a very long time. I love Dolly Parton. I think she's absolutely magnificent. She's like one of the hardest working ladies in country music. And she's so smart. She's so business savvy, and she's just incredibly smart. So I definitely, and I love her music, of course, and her writing. She's just a beautiful woman. I'd love to collaborate with her. I'd love to collaborate with Vince Gill. Oh my goodness, that would be so huge. And then of course another one is Miranda Lambert. I think that she's paved the way for women in like the Texas music industry. I mean, and not just Texas. I mean, in country music for women, period. I mean, she was like this huge movement. I mean, because you're in Texas, so like it's hard for us ladies, I mean, it's crazy. I have these conversations all the time with my girlfriends that are also, in the music industry, and we talk things out and we hash over, does this happen to you? Yeah, this happens to me too. And it's one of those things, like I said before, you just keep being consistent and you just don't quit. But yeah, so those three are huge top on my list. I mean, of course, there's a bunch of others, but those are ones that really, truly inspired me growing up for sure.
And by the way, you listen to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to music artist, country artist Susan Hickman. Go to her website. That is susanhickman.com, and follow her on her social medias. Before we let you go, it's about 6 minutes left before we have to say goodbye. I don't like saying goodbye on interviews.
I don't either.
Here's the thing. A lot of people I had on the show recently, especially in the music industry, we've been talking about the hot topic of what have you learned going through the pandemic and having to adjust being a music professional. What are some of the things that you had to do to basically not just survive, but just be in a creative process of adapting to the situation that we all had to adjust to? I mean, when the pandemic started, we really had no choice but to make tough decisions and keep it moving. What did you have to do in your personal experience to stay inspired and keep pushing?
The pandemic, my gosh, what a time. Honestly, like the first week that we were in the shutdown. It was like a solid week. I sat in a chair and I watched TV for the first time in a really, really long time. Watched TV. We did the things, my boyfriend and I, we did nothing for a solid week. And we're like, what are we going to do? Like, this is happening to everybody. This isn't just us. This is everybody is in the same situation, same boat. And it was like getting hit by a truck. It's like, okay, what now? But after that week of kind of, once that shock kind of started wearing off, started booking, the live streams, we got with the radio stations, we got with the live music venues, and we started doing takeovers on Facebook and Instagram. And that was really cool, because I had been wanting to learn how to do some more professional type live stream events, because I've been wanting to do a lot of that stuff, leading up to the pandemic. And I was like, you know what? Perfect. This is the perfect time. I can sit and I can learn something new, because like I said before, I love putting new information in my brain. I feel like I get recharged and I get really excited because I learned something new. But I learned how to, put together a really pretty package, for a live stream, and learn some of that technical stuff. And, I showed some other, musicians what I was doing. And so I was able to, kind of pass that on to them too. We did a lot of those. And then, we did a lot of, we worked out a lot, which was good for, the whole well-being. It's good for your mind. It's good for your body. We spent a lot of time outside at the pool, and, we spent the entire quarantine. It was 7 of us, like, the entire time. So it was cool. And it was, it was able to, we were able to, bond, with, our friendships, with those people that we were spending that time with. And like I said, it was a blessing and a curse. Like, it was very frustrating, the things that we had lined up. But on the other hand, I feel like I came out okay. And I know a lot of people can't say the same thing, because it was a devastating time for everybody. But I felt like, for the first time in like 21 years, I actually had somewhat of a vacation, of like a break. It was a mental dump, all that running around and never having enough sleep. I got 8 and 9 hours of sleep every single night during the whole thing. And I haven't had that since I can remember. So I came away okay.
And once again, we're talking to Susan Hickman, country artist representing Houston. Big shout out to Houston, man. I know people out there. SusanHickman.com is the place to go if you want to learn more about her and her music. But before we sign off here, what are some of the things you see in the future? Because a lot of places are starting to open up slowly and safely, of course. But what are some of the things you see in the near future? Are you going to be booking up concerts and stuff in the future soon? What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, we've been doing really good booking shows, and we're booking house concerts too. So we're doing the live events and we're still doing house concerts. I don't think we'll ever quit doing that, because they're so much fun. We have a new single coming out on July 2nd. It's called A Dream. So look for that, and then the video will follow shortly thereafter. I do have a new album coming out. We don't have a date for that yet, but it'll probably be later on in the year. And that's Louder Than Words, Volume 2. We released Volume 1 last year. So you can find out all that information on my website, SusanHickman.com. And then, of course, follow me on the social medias, the Facebook, Instagram. And I just started a TikTok. I feel like an old person. I feel like I need a young kid to show me the ropes and show me what to do. But follow me on there, because I'm getting that thing up and going too. So
once again, had true honors talking to music country artist Susan Hickman. Make you go check out her website, SusanHickman.com, about all the things that she's going to be doing in the near future. And hopefully we get her back on the show when she is doing some awesome, cool stuff. So we keep in touch.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me on. This was fun.
And like we say on every single show on I Am Refocused Radio, keep God first, stay focused, and peace. Hey, it's Shemai Reed with I Am Refocused Radio. Make sure you go to IamRefocusedRadio.com to listen to today's episode. Once again, like we always say, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.